So let's set the mission for this deep dive. We're going to extract the core tools and frameworks for adopting that strategic mindset. Because strategic thinking, it's not some kind of dark art or corporate plotting.
Right. The sources are very clear on that. It's about clarity, foresight, and just plain intelligence. It's the switch from reacting to life to actually responding to it intentionally.
And that central distinction is so powerful. I mean, think about it. Most people are on autopilot, right?
Completely. Just reacting to their inbox, rushing from one fire to the next. They're living 5 minutes ahead.
Just dealing with whatever's yelling the loudest. But the strategic thinker,
They do the opposite. They actively create a pause. They look at the whole landscape and they plan 5 steps ahead.
I love the analogy one of the sources uses. It says strategic thinking is stopping playing checkers and starting playing chess.
That's it right there. You're seeing the whole board.
And that pause, that tiny moment of thought, the sources call it the birthplace of power.
It is. It's the moment you choose intelligence over pure instinct. That's how you take control back.
Which brings us to the really hard part. If this is so powerful, why don't we all just do it?
Because we're literally wired not to. Our brains have this ancient fight-or-flight system that's great for, running from a tiger.
But terrible for handling a nasty email from your boss.
Exactly. And you add in all this societal pressure to be busy, to move fast, and we just default to instinct. But most of our modern problems, they need a cool, rational mind, not a panicked one.
Can we walk through a scenario? The sources have this excellent example of job loss.
Oh, absolutely. It's a perfect illustration. So a major setback like that hits. The reactive person, let's call them person A, just spirals.
Pure panic.
Pure panic. They start sending out hundreds of generic resumes, just a shotgun approach. And they grab the very first offer they get.
Just to make the pain stop.
Right. But a year later, they're stuck, they're underpaid, burned out, because they solved the short-term problem, but made the long-term one so much worse.
Okay, so what about person B, the strategist? Same event.
Same event, completely different response. They feel the shock, of course, but they force themselves to pause. They take a day, they assess their finances, their long-term goals.
So they're not just reacting, they're gathering intelligence.
Yes. They talk to mentors. They only apply for roles that actually line up with their values. They use this crisis as an opportunity to recalibrate.
And the result is they land a better, more fulfilling job.
A much better job. They use the setback as leverage. It's the difference between shouting, "I'm mad, so I'll say something now," and
saying, "I'll cool off and figure out how to actually solve this."
Precisely. And this is why the sources give us a practical tool, a mental circuit breaker, really. It's called the 3-second rule.
I like that it's something you can use immediately. It's not some abstract theory.
Not at all. Before you respond to a trigger, an email, an insult, whatever, you just pause for 3 seconds and you ask 3 quick questions.
Okay, what's the first one?
First, what outcome do I actually want here? You define the win. Second, is my knee-jerk reaction helping or hurting me get to that outcome?
So you're checking your own impulse.
You are. And the third question is the key. What would the strategic future version of me do right now? That question forces you to step outside the emotion.
It's like you're borrowing wisdom from your future self.
Yeah.
Which connects to another great idea from the sources.
Yeah.
The future you test.
This one is so powerful for big decisions. You're thinking of taking that high-paying but, toxic job.
We've all been there.
Right. So you imagine your future self 5 years from now watching you make this choice. Are they applauding you or are they cringing?
That immediately forces you to zoom out. You're prioritizing long-term success over short-term relief.
If you fail the future you test, you know you're making a mistake. So once you've mastered that pause, you're ready for the next phase. Because strategy without a clear target is useless.
And this brings us to defining the end game. The sources say clarity is leverage. Vague goals like "I want to be successful" are, well, they're useless, aren't they?
They're worse than useless. They just lead to busy work. You feel like you're moving, but you're just running in circles.
So clarity means being specific, not "I want a better job," but "I want to be in a senior management role in my industry within 3 years."
Exactly. Specificity is what lets you measure your progress. And once you have that clear goal, you don't just plan forwards. The strategic move is to plan backwards.
This is reverse engineering success. I love this concept.
It's a brilliant psychological trick. A huge goal like writing a book can feel impossible when you look at it from the start.
Just a giant, intimidating mountain.
But if you reverse engineer it, you start at the end. You imagine you are holding the finished published book in your hands.
Okay, I'm holding the book. What had to happen right before that moment?
You had to have a publishing deal, Rick.
A deal. And before the deal...
You needed a final, polished manuscript.
And before that, I had to actually write all the chapters.
See? All of a sudden, this impossible fantasy becomes a series of clear, logical, manageable steps. Your only job right now is the very next step.
That makes so much sense. Now, all those steps need fuel, and that fuel is information. The information is ammunition principle. But how do you avoid just getting stuck researching forever? Paralysis by analysis.
That is the classic trap. And the key is you're not aiming to know everything. That's impossible. You're aiming for sufficient strategic intelligence.
Just enough to make a good decision now.
Just enough. And to get there, you need to filter all the noise out there. The sources give us 3 filters for good intel.
What's the first one?
Relevance. You have to be ruthless. Does this piece of information help me solve this problem right now? It stops you from going down endless rabbit holes.
And filter number 2.
Timeliness. Is this advice current? Business advice from 2015 might be totally useless today. The world moves too fast.
And finally, the most important one, credibility.
Crucial. Is this source proven? Do they have real-world experience, or are they just loud? A strategist always prefers wisdom over theory.
So you've gathered your intel through these filters. How do you know when to stop researching and actually move?
The sources offer a great rule of thumb for this, the 70% rule.
Meaning?
If you're 70% confident based on the information you have, it's time to act. Waiting for 100% certainty is a fantasy. You'll miss your window of opportunity every single time.
You can't steer a parked car.
You can't. Momentum is your friend. Okay, so we've paused. We have a clear goal. We have our intel. Now we get to the really high-level stuff. Seeing the whole board.
This is where we get into systems thinking.
Yes. It's the ability to see that nothing happens in a vacuum. Everything is connected. A systems thinker sees the patterns, the interdependencies.
So let's use the example from the sources. A manager sees low productivity. The reactive move is to just tell everyone, work harder.
Right, which never works, because low productivity is a symptom, not the disease.
So the systems thinker looks for the root cause.
Exactly. They ask, are our tools outdated? Is there a communication problem between departments? Is our bonus structure accidentally rewarding the wrong things? You fix the system, not just the symptoms.
You're mapping the whole landscape.
You are, like a general before a battle. Who are all the players? Where's the real power? What are their hidden interests? You position yourself based on that intelligence.
And that leads from just reacting to something much more powerful.
Yeah.
Anticipating. This is where scenario planning comes in.
It's so critical. You don't just plan for the future you want, you plan for multiple possible futures. The sources say to build 4 main scenarios.
Okay, what's the first?
The likely scenario. That's your baseline plan. Your main strategy is built around this.
Then you have the best case scenario.
Right. If you get a massive wave of luck, how do you ride it? How do you scale up?
And maybe the most important one, the worst case scenario.
This is your damage control plan, your exit strategy. If the market tanks or a key partner walks away, you don't panic, you just execute plan C. That's real confidence.
Then the fourth is the wild card, the complete unknown.
Think about early 2020. That was the wild card for every business on the planet. The strategists who had at least thought about major global disruption had a huge advantage.
Having all those plans lets you act with precision, which is all about timing. I love this quote from the source material. The right move at the wrong time is still the wrong move.
It's so true. We think speed is everything, but often it's patience and perfect timing that win. Strategists look for high-leverage moments.
These are the sweet spots where a tiny action gets a huge result.
That's it, exactly. It's like surfing. You can't control the waves, but you learn to read them. You know exactly when to paddle, when to get up, when to ride. Do it too early or too late. You wipe out.
So it's about being ready and patient.
Which brings us to our last section. Maximizing your results. Working smarter, not harder.
This is all about the leverage mindset.
Right. Leverage is just using a small amount of effort to get a huge impact. Think of a car jack. A little bit of force lifts a 2-ton car.
You're multiplying your strength. And the most famous framework for finding leverage is the 80-20 rule.
The Pareto principle. 80% of your results will come from just 20% of your actions.
So the strategic move is to stop focusing on the 80% of busy work.
And double down on that vital 20%. That's where you apply your force.
The sources point to 4 key areas where you can apply leverage right now. What are they?
First is time. Automate, delegate, eliminate the obvious stuff. Second is skill. Focus on the one unique skill you have that provides the biggest return.
Third is network.
This one is massive. Knowing someone who has already solved your problem can save you literally 5 years of trial and error. That's leverage.
A single conversation.
And the fourth, platform. Building assets, content, systems, intellectual property that work for you while you're sleeping, that's the ultimate force multiplier.
But even with the best plan and the best leverage, things go wrong.
They always do, which is why you need strategic agility. The plan matters, but your ability to pivot matters more. The first rule is just expect the unexpected. Change isn't a bug, it's a feature.
So how do you stay on track when the track keeps moving?
The sources give us the flexibility rule. Hold your vision, but loosen your plan.
The why stays fixed, but the how can change.
Precisely. It's like a GPS. If there's a roadblock, it doesn't just give up and shut down, it recalculates the route. That's not failure, that's intelligence in motion.
So let's bring this all together. What does this shift from being a reactor to a tactician really mean for you listening right now?
It means that strategic thinking isn't just for generals and CEOs. It's an internal GPS for your own life. It gives you control in situations where everyone else just feels chaos.
We've covered a lot. Practicing the pause, getting clarity by reverse engineering your goals, gathering just enough intelligence, and always focusing on leverage and agility.
And as the sources remind us, none of this matters without execution. But the greatest leverage of all comes from focusing on things that compound.
That's it. Not just one-off wins, creating habits, relationships, or systems that grow and improve over time, paying you back exponentially.
So let's leave you with a final thought, one that connects right back to that future you test. If strategy is a lifestyle, then what is one small compounding action you can start today?
A new habit, a new system, an investment in a relationship. Something that your future self, 5 years from now, will genuinely thank you for starting.
Find that one thing.
Start that compounding action now, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.